Being in the car industry, we've always got clients looking for cars, and Facebook Market is the cancer of the automotive hobby. As I spend way too much time on there, you can ask my business partner. We've got quite a collection of cars at the shop, but one of our good clients, his name's Lewis. I think is actually our first client when we went out on our own. He actually bought a couple cars from us now, but super awesome guy, loves the older Mercedes like us, so we get along great. Came across this 2014 S550. Lewis is a very particular man, much more so than myself. Likes things to be just perfect. It was a one owner car, bought it brand new at RBM, fully loaded for one of these. It's the 222 generation S Class that came out in 2014. So, first year, fully loaded, black on silk beige is what they called it back then. AMG Sport package. It had the executive seats, so you had the sweet little footrest that came out, and it still had the plastic wrapping on it after 95,000 miles or so, right under 100,000 miles. But he's like, Cam, I found this awesome car, had brand new tires on it. He just put a set of front air shocks on it, so it was good to go. But it had this noise. He said it just makes this like ticking, knocking noise. He said, I just want you to check it out. He brought it one day. The obvious problem was the noise it was making. It was knocking like someone's coming to say hello at your front door. But the car had no idea. It drove perfectly fine, not a light on the dash. So we get to investigating it. Pulled a couple of the spark plugs and stuck a borescope camera down there. And the cylinder walls look like Swiss cheese. It's just totally ate up and down. And what that is actually the piston slapping around in the cylinder walls because they're worn on either edge and it can move about there in the cylinder block. So he's like, well, what do I do now? I said, well, it's, a used engine total's going to be like $15,000. So he's like, well, the guy wants, I think it was right at 30,000. So he's like, essentially it's a $15,000 car. So he goes back to the guy, it goes a few days and didn't hear much about it. And he comes back and he says, well, hey, this guy's got this warranty on it, extended warranty as they're colloquially called in the automotive industry, which is correctly called a vehicle service contract because the only one that can really warranty a car is the manufacturer. He had one of these third-party contracts on it. The guy said if we can get an engine in it, we can work out a deal. So we start this process. The actual owner of the car brings it in, says, hey, the guy that's interested said you can deal with this company and maybe get an engine since evidently it needs an engine. We're like, it most certainly does. The owner was, of course, on the defensive because he's trying to sell a car, and we just said, hey, it needs an engine. But either way, he came in and said, let's get it figured out. We start the process, and thankfully, I had experience with one of these service contracts. I used to work for one for a number of years, so I kind of knew what to do, ins and outs, and just how to streamline the process. This went on for, God, I want to say it was close to 3 months. Just back and forth with the company, and it took them a few of those months just to even come out and look at the car. But finally, we got them a few estimates, came out. This was so expensive that it maxed out the contract to put a new engine, and there were some other things it needed, of course, at a 100,000 mile S-Class. It needed engine mounts and every control arm under the front end and a few other odds and ends, but overall, a very nicely kept one-owner car. So we max out the contract and we're talking to the original owner of it. And by this time, Lewis, our potential client, had kind of faltered off on it and was in and amongst other deals. And so the owner's like, well, what do you want to do? And we were waiting on the check to come in. And he says, well, I don't really want the car. And we're like, okay, that's great. We'll just fix it and we'll move on. And he decided he really didn't want the car. So he was about to pull it out and just, I don't know what he planned to do with it, but he wanted this check that was supposed to be coming from the service contract. So I think it was all in, ended up around $27,000 or so. So he comes to us, he says, hey, I don't want the car. Maybe you guys can do with it. Maybe, Lewis will end up wanting it. So how about you guys buy the car? I say, but how do you expect that to work exactly? So he says, well, I want 30 for the car. The check's for 27. How about you give me $3,000 and I'll give you the car? I kind of look, I talked to my business partner, Andy. We're like, it is a super nice car. And, when are you going to buy another, couple $1,000 S-Class that's only a few years old? So we go back and forth and we come up and we're kind of looking at the numbers. We're like, the profit, if we fix the car, comes out the same as if we have the car, put the engine in and sell it. So we're like, sorry, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Our profit's about the same either way, so why would we take the risk of selling the car, hoping we get that amount of money for it? We went back and forth, and we wanted to pay, I don't think we wanted to pay anything. We said, we'll give you the $27,000 and we'll get the car and we'll take the risk of selling it. He didn't want that. He was adamant, $30,000. We ended up smack dab in the middle at $1,000. We got the check, used that check, or, put it in through the business to pay for the engine and so forth as if we repaired the car. We gave him $1,000 in cash and got the title to a one owner 2014 S-Class Mercedes. In the process of looking for a good salvage used engine for this S550, it wasn't as easy as you would think. You think just find an engine that's pulled out of a car and plop it in, you'll be good to go. Well, with this particular engine, it's called the M278. And up through, I forget the actual production change, but the cylinder walls went from the Silatech or Nano Slide, they have a fancy name for it, but the spray-in cylinder liners. And that was the one they had the issues with. Later on, it was like mid-2016, depending on the engine production date, they put cast iron liners in them. The early ones do not. So, and of course, all the ones that you find at salvage yards and so forth that are wrecked are all the early ones. So we would call, and actually had one, they had two engines. I needed one for a client's car and one for this car. He was out in California, and he had two of these engines, fairly low mileage and so forth. And I said, hey, I want to buy these two engines. Let's make a deal together. But I said, I need you to scope these cylinder walls before you send it to me. And I did this with like 3 or 4 different yards, but this one in particular, he said, well, I have no way of doing that, so it is what it is. I said, well, would you rather it get here after you pay shipping, me inspect it the day it shows up, see that there's a problem, and have you pay return shipping to get it back? And that made them very much more inclined to buy a camera. So they said they got on Amazon or whichever and bought a borescope. A couple days later, he sends me an email with a bunch of pictures, and we're like, oh, this looks good. He said, these are the main cylinders that have an issue. It's usually like number 5 or number 4, which is the very forward on the driver's side and the very back on the passenger side. So those look good, but he said, you want me to do the rest of them? I said, yeah, since you're there, do them. Well, then the Swiss cheese came out. So that engine's out, and went on to the next one, and it was the same thing. So I said, he's like, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I can't buy them. That's no good. It's garbage at that point. So I had to move on from that one, but thankfully he was honest with me. I went through a few others. We actually had some from local yards that the only way they would do it is to send it to us. When they did, we wouldn't even let them off the truck. We would get the driver, say, hey, we're going to check this right here and there. We actually got the driver in trouble for spending so much time at our stop. They preferred them to actually just dump the engine and come back and get it another day if there was an issue. Eventually, we found one that worked out properly. Had it for, God, I don't even think it was 2 or 3 weeks. One of our good clients came in. He said, what are you doing with that car? He liked it. We actually didn't even have the engine in it. He said, I really like that car. I need a new car for my wife. So he looked at it, and we made a deal right then and there before the engine was even in it. Like I said, we got to drive it. I think Andy drove it one weekend. I drove it another, and then said it's good to go. And we ended up selling it for, I think, right at $27,000. So we did okay. We still get some service work on the car since it comes to us. So it all works out in the end. But that's how we got the cheapest S550 in who knows for how long.
When you get a ticket, it might look something like this, but the first thing that you need to do is take a picture of that ticket and send it to 305-305. That will get the ticket clinic on your case immediately. They've got brick and mortar offices in Georgia, Florida, and California, but they can help you find a ticket no matter where you get it in the United States by helping you find a local attorney that will do everything they can to help you avoid costly fines, insurance premium increases, points on your license, risk of suspension, even jail time. They've helped me out with this ticket and many others, and a lot of my friends as well. So check them out now at the link in the description below, or again, text your ticket to 305-305 to get the ticket clinic on your case. They are the perfect partner in your fight against any speeding ticket.